Exiles 1 Portal. I am Mr. Coffee, once again, joined by Casper. This one was slightly slower.
Yeah, it's like you got a little more romantic with it.
I don't know if I was like trying to get romantic with it. It just came out slower, and I don't know why. Maybe because I was doing a boss. That's probably what it is. Oh
Ah,
well.
okay, okay, okay.
How, how goes it?
Um, hold on, that sneeze started coming on. Um, I don't know, man. I'm conflicted.
What about?
Well, besides the fact that the sneeze try keeps attacking me, but it's not coming out. There are a lot of things that are both super exciting about Path 2 and also super scary about Path 2. Um, Besides the fact that
I'm
there's
all
been so much, in the news and like I think the marketing team of GGG has been really doing its putting its work in. But yeah, there's just a few things out there that's kind of um like anything of the things I've sent you so far, have you reviewed?
You've sent me things or things that are popping up in the channel?
Well, I posted for you to read. It's only us two part of the channel.
Wait, in here. Okay, so I read the part of the Forbes article.
Okay, yeah, so that's that. Okay, so we can start there.
I
So
did also look at the Ghazi beef, or not beef, but the Ghazi situation.
drama, yeah.
And then I did not read the one about last epoch.
Okay. Um, so we could start at the Forbes magazine because I felt like this was the funniest one. So for anyone out there, I don't know like what you know about Forbes, but Forbes, from my understanding, has been basically self-titled the people who know business. The magazine, like if you want to know about business markets and all that stuff, you kind of associate yourself with Forbes. You kind of you consume their media, their news, their magazines, whatever. They're kind of like the tabloid version of New York Times. Like if you feel yourself as an intellectual, the only newspaper you read is the New York Times. And I think Forbes just kind of falls in that line when it comes to markets and all that stuff. So, to my surprise, what came up on my feed was a article on Path of Exile 2. Now, I find this to be super exciting because finally, I feel like Path of Exile is getting attention from the media outside of just the niche circle. So it has
Yeah,
somewhat like it has is gaining mainstream media. So I'm enjoying that. But what I'm not enjoying is how fucking clueless some of these people writing these articles are. And I knew this from the very beginning, like with other in other areas of life, but it's just like Jesus Christ, did the AI write this?
I'm pretty sure they did.
I got that feeling too. Like I feel like they took like a AI just ripped and kind of like they was like, well, this is good enough, just posted it.
Yeah, it's a level of interesting that the media kind of spins on everything that it deals with. I've never really been a person that likes putting too much focus on media. Uh, like even social media is kind of one of those things where it's like listening to the wrong social media will give you the wrong idea about a lot of shit, you know.
And so
So
to be a little more descriptive as to what I'm talking about, so there was an article on Forbes.com by a person named Paul Tussey. It was posted 12/24, 12/02, and the title of the article is Path of Exile 2, Marvel Rivals and Indiana Jones share release date demands a choice. Now, what I find this to be hilarious isn't the fact that they're comparing three separate games that are coming on the same day. It's not comparing the actual titles themselves. What I found it to be like super curious is to find the fact that they are not paying attention to any of these specific titles, but just making a blanket statement of the fact that, well, there are three separate games coming out on the same day, so obviously that's gonna be problematic.
Right. It's not like fucking Gran Turismo and Forza 5 are
Hmm.
all coming out on
Yeah.
the same time,
Or
like
like
trying to steal each other's business. Like,
or
what,
music
what do you
videos or music albums, right? If like an Eminem a rap um falls in the same time as a country album, and also Lindsay Lohan bringing out her debut, I don't know, sophomore album, like those are two, like, yeah, they're all music, but I don't think rap fans are gonna stay in the line for Lindsay Lohan.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
it
saying?
it, it is tone deaf at minimum.
So it's super tone deaf. And then if you as you dig deeper, the article gets worse because they're making direct comparisons to like Indiana Jones, the video game. Like, how is Path of Exile 2 even remotely on the same realm as Indiana Jones? Like,
I I don't know, man. Like this
and
is a
then
it's a
Marvel
oh,
Marvel Virals, which if you look at, is it on Steam? I know they got hella bad reviews.
yeah.
Marvel.
Marvel games don't really do so well right now.
First of all, Marvel Rivals is a free to play game. Oh, so it's not out yet. It's release 5.
It
But
releases at the same time as Path of Exile.
it has, from my understanding, this game has, based on the beta testing that they've been doing and just the articles I've been reading, it has a really bad reviews so far. And again, I'm not comparing this to anything else as far as, okay, this is gonna be better. No, from my understanding, they're two different games. Marvel Rivals is like a what do you call it?
Is it a gotcha?
No, it's a Blizzard game. Like, you know that Blizzard game with the Jesus Christ, what is it called? Overwatch.
It's another Overwatch?
Yeah, it's kind of like a Unreal. It's kind of like an Unreal tournament slash Overwatch where the team is split into like three versus threes. I got a superhero, you got three superheroes, and we kind of just battle it out.
Okay.
So it's kind of like that team-based PvP shooter. And they
Okay.
have different modes and stuff like that. Again, it's what you would expect from a Marvel title. Pretty much cookie cutting the cookie from other genres, but just putting Marvel characters in it.
Fair.
It's not nothing
I, that doesn't
specifically
sound
Marvel.
really like a well, I don't know. I don't
They're
play
not
video games.
recreating the wheel. They're not recreating the wheel. They're just taking a mode or genre that's been done before, and all they're doing is slapping Marvel in it and adding Marvel characters and using Marvel IP. Nothing crazy.
That
Um,
sounds like Marvel.
so and it's free to play, so it's gonna be microtransaction up to hoo ha.
Yeah.
Just
Uh,
so you've been trying to make up for the, and it's not made by Marvel. It's made by uh,
Netties?
NetEase Games.
Yeah, Netties. Yeah.
So
Yeah,
again, it
that's gonna be fun.
it's whatever. Like, look, it might be really good fun game. It might, but you're putting this game on the same tier, avenue, lane as Path of Exile.
Uh, yeah, I don't know if I would go tier, but like we don't know what tier it is.
Well, yeah, I mean like the same column
Yeah.
as an
Like
ARPG. Like, I wouldn't be as mad if like Last Epic or an actual ARPG is coming out with either an expansion or something on the same day. That would be
right,
a perfectly fair, even if it's Diablo 4.
right, but these people don't play video games, dude.
Clearly. So they posted that and they were just making that comparison. I just said that the entire time, like, at halfway down the article, I was just like, why am I still reading this? And I
Oh, dude,
just
I looked at who it was about, read the title, laughed a little bit, and then didn't look at it. I'm not gonna bullshit. It was just one of those like, this isn't even worth. really looking at the title alone says it all.
Yeah. So whether it was clickbait, whether it was like just an analysis of whatever that else, it was just stupid. It was stupid.
They're trying to get gamers to read Forbes now. That's what it is.
Obviously.
They're trying to become
Um,
a game magazine all of a sudden.
and I think because of because of the embargo of basically of information that's currently put on, which leads us to the next topic. Part of the reason why we haven't made any content is because there's pretty much an embargo right now. Like you can't make any content. There's nothing out there other than what GGG is releasing, and GGG is not really releasing much, but of anything other than little teasers about items and like we
I
can't make a
think
whole episode about two
I think
uniques.
the thing is though, I think the quote unquote embargo is only for like if you went and recorded information like PoE to early shit, but it doesn't mean that we can't talk about our opinions. Oh, when
Yeah,
early
yeah, yeah.
access.
Well, we typically talk about stuff that's out and we react to it, right? But it's like if it's nothing out, what the fuck are we reacting to? And GG's not really releasing a lot of information other than the few teasers that they released of the trailers and then the gameplay live stream.
I'm not gonna lie. I have been really trying to keep my way out of like the teasers and stuff that are coming out, mainly because I don't think any of it is going to sway me one way or the other. You know
Yeah,
what I
I mean
mean?
we're sold. We're balls deep already.
Yeah.
You
It's
don't
one of
need to
those things.
convince us.
I'm just gonna play it when it comes out, and I'm really, really, really hoping it's gonna be fucking great. And if it's not, my opinion will be known. That's pretty much where I lie. I
So
just
then,
kind of at this point, I'm just kind of wanting to get into the game already so I can have fun.
right. So then this leads us into the next drama. So this was came up. I don't know why, but maybe because I subscribed to Gazi and I don't know why now of all times, but Gazi videos and just stuff has been bombarding my phone. I don't know what it is with the algorithm right now, but that's just what's happening. And this one that I shared with you happened to come up in this with him addressing the current issue with Fextra Life. Now, if you don't know what Fextra Life is, I'm not gonna go down the rabbit hole, but Fextra Life is a similar to a company slash streamer slash conglomerate of different people who review games, play them, make guides, have a website, blah 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 blah, all that. And the reason I say that is because typically there's one person that you see that's the face of the name Factual Life, and then like Gazi, for example. But then there have like Gazi who admits it. He has a company behind him. Like Gazi has a whole company of people who helps him write the guides, who helps him manage the websites, you know what I'm saying? Like it's usually when you see a streamer these days, you just don't see just one person, right?
Right.
It's usually a
Well,
team.
depend a
Depending on how
bigger
big they
stream.
are. Yeah, it depends on how big they are. Sometimes you're just gonna need some help and you need to hire some help. So that being said, so Factual Life apparently is has been treated by GGG as a mainstream outlet media. And the argument that Ghazi and the reason why Ghazi is upset about this is because Factual Life don't portray themselves as a mainstream media. Fictionalized portray themselves more of as a content creator because they make guides, they make like things outside of just advertisement material for video games. They do both, which Gazzy does too. And when he found out that basically Fictionalized was able to basically post film of the game, where currently every
Can't.
streamer and content creator can't because they're under embargo until the Friday. He felt that that was very unfair and very bullshit. And not only did not the Factual Life did not get in trouble, they got backed by GGG and said, "Oh no, that's my fault. That's our fault." So they even covered for Factual Life, which to him, for him, it was more like, "What the fuck is going on here now? How is they now being treated differently than everyone else?" Um, and he admits that even that has been probably an effort towards of GGG to really try to push their game to that next level of marketing and get that exposure. I read somewhere, I don't know if you this if you saw this, but I read somewhere that they're hoping to get 1 million players on Friday.
They said they're prepared.
Okay.
That's what they said. They were prepared. They didn't say we're getting 1 million players. It's they're like, look, we know how these things go. We went and got extra a whole bunch of server space, so we're prepared for it. We even talked to our server people to make sure that if we did run out of server space, what the fuck happens? Do we have a path to increase? Like, you know what I mean? He was just letting people that the launch should go smoothly as far as connecting.
And I will pray for them for that because uh, we've had like crazy launches before.
But nothing like 1 million players.
Yeah, but never like 1 million players. So I hope that
The
for
fact that they even brought it up that they're prepared for that is mwah.
now
I'm
if
hoping.
let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a
Uh,
question. You know the number of D4 players.
not right now.
Not right now, but we've talked about this in several episodes before.
Hmm.
Let's assume 5% of those people try like they're thirsty and they feel left out after D4, and they say, "Hey, this game is free." Well, no, actually, early access is not free. You have to pay to get in.
Correct.
But I'm assuming that most D4 people who bought D4 don't give a fuck about that. They'll buy it just because.
Maybe I'm. I don't know. I feel that personally for I don't. Okay. We know from GGG that most of their people who buy supporter packs are not like the majority of players.
No, people like us.
Right. I didn't have to buy the $30 thing. I happened to get mine from GGG because I spent the required amount over the lifetime of playing PoE 1. You and another friend of mine probably got in the same way. Now, with that being said, I don't think they need 1 million slots for the early access, but I'm glad they're prepared for it. When PoE 2
Now,
releases, I think that is when we need to be really, really, really prepared for some like crazy shit.
well, they based on the amount of keys they've given out so far, they have a good idea.
That's probably fair, but I don't know if that's really taking into account, old accounts, people who don't really play PoE anymore. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I don't know if they're just like overly prepared because even with things like, putting in a floor, you usually want to overshoot how much material you have by a fair amount.
I learned that the hard way.
Right? Yeah, it's a pain in the dick and it's expensive, but
Damn Home
it also
Depot runs. It's always like, God damn, I need some more. I gotta go back to Home Depot.
exactly. So it's one of those things where like, being prepared for a huge influx is always better because you don't know if like for instance, right, we get into the game
Mm.
and everybody some by some magical fucking stroke of genius from the PoE 2 team, we end up with like a perfect game, right? Not even perfect, like 9 out of 10, to the point where everybody's like jacking off over the concept of playing. And then all of a sudden you have people fucking buying keys to get into the early access and to fucking be a part of that. That is the thing that I'm kind of like, I'm hoping that happens. I don't think it's gonna, but I think that it's gonna start with like, I'm really hoping it's gonna start strong. I understand that there's gonna be, glitches and things that they're gonna have to do to fix the game, but we're fucking uh paid unpaid product testers.
Oh,
That's what we're signing up.
that's what you've always been,
Yeah.
and we've been
Well, we pay
happy.
for the privilege. Yeah, we pay for the privilege.
We've been happy at that point. Um, that leads us to our next controversy, which was the D4 was a CEO or game developer, game producer, game director, one of those positions. When he went on after the announcement of Path 2, with all of this oodles and oodles of content, he went on Twitter and was basically saying like he was throwing really low blow shots at Path, saying like basically he can't wait to the moment where other ARPG games are called Diablo-like, kind of like Souls-like and rogue-like games. So he wants his game to be the defining title
So,
for an
the,
entire industry or entire
right.
genre, which everyone who replied to that tweet, that what is it called, tweet anymore, or that what is it called? No, like X,
Yeah,
whatever.
X, whatever.
Um, good job, Ellen. Jesus
They X.
Christ, I can't even say that without sounding like I'm having an aneurysm.
Just like leave out the S. They
X.
didn't say.
He X'd.
Yeah,
He X'd.
yeah,
That's
they X.
Jesus Christ. Um, that basically in reply to him saying that basically make a good D4 game. Make a good game then. Like
Basically, yeah.
a lot of people just pretty much went and said, and these are the people who actually bothered to even reply, right? A lot of people was making fun of him offline on their YouTube channels and on their own proper, like the audacity of you making a game, you sold it for a crazy amount of money, and then it's pretty much dead at this point compared to the numbers that you achieved. It takes months for a path game to a path expansion to like die out when we're talking about percentages. You have a month or two before the numbers start to dwindle in any foreseeable way for a path, and they don't even reach as much number. But if you just look at the percentage of players from launch into when they stop playing, the quality of the game is that much better. So it's like, now, am I sitting here say advocating for the fact that it should be instead say path-like games? No, because I think that there's a lot of things that path needs to achieve before you even get to that threshold.
you
Um,
know, it's one of those things where, let's be real, right? So the game industry is old enough to where ARPGs in the fashion that we're talking about right now are an old enough genre to where the actual title is the actual title. Souls, right? So comparing D4 even to Souls, right? So Souls like. Let's just think about what the fuck that meant for a minute, right? That was a groundbreaking moment of video gaming. The reason it was Souls like is because there were no other games like it.
yeah,
It it broke the mold of what role playing games and hack and slash games could be in such a way to where people really found it profound enough to be like, nah, dude, this isn't like anything you've ever played.
kind of similar to like RTS games and like Command and Conquer. Like you can make the argument like if you see an RTS game, you can probably be like, oh, that's kind of like a Command and Conquer
Just be
because
like, yeah,
it broke the mold of what a typical RTS meant, and like the speed of it, the way of it, and was just like, whoa, this is the shit, man. It took over for like 10 years. Command and Conquer
yeah.
games was the shit. So it was like Diablo has not done that. I'm sorry. Like even with Diablo 2, which I love and adore, even that game wasn't groundbreaking. It introduced it, but I don't think since then it has made an impact in the ARPG industry.
Well, Diablo 2 was just a really, really good showing of the systems that were in place and a really good starting point, and like they just did everything really well in Diablo 2 when it
But
came to like it didn't break any mold. It literally just took something that was around but really did it well.
and
And that's not taking
and
away
to
from
be
the achievement.
fair, the love for Diablo 2 was not the same as Path. They didn't develop, and maybe because it's a different time. Maybe back when D2 came out, the gaming industry was different. It was at its early insight, it wasn't as mature as it is now. The money wasn't there.
Right. It was a lot of the time it was a labor of love.
Right. Maybe that's the case. But when you look at the 10 years of Path 1's development versus Diablo 2's development, and then you look at the companies themselves, I feel like you can't compare them because if you was to compare Diablo 2's development, there was only one expansion and a few updates. And again, I'm not I know there was more than three updates for Diablo 2, but after the expansion, that's pretty much it. Like that Lord of Destructions, that's it. And then the game sustained itself through community for the next 5 to 6 years. Like that, there was no further like content update. There was no other expansion. It was just like that's it. This is the title. Whether you didn't see that with Path, they took that inspiration. They realized that well, they're not gonna do anything else with this IP. We can't use the IP. They're not gonna let us. Right? Diablo is a big brand, is a big IP, so they were like, well, let us create our own, and then they fucking made their own little crazy bad
Yeah.
little game, and they took 13 years to make it what it is now, and now they have Path 2, which is the culmination of those 13 years into basically a better engine,
And learning lessons.
and that too, right? And I think even if you use Diablo, in my opinion, if you use Diablo 2 as the game defining game to say, oh, this is the one that should be the one that deserves the Diablo like title, Diablo 2 like. But even then, that's not. I don't think it is because it was a great game to introduce you into the genre, but so was Diablo 1. Diablo 1 had its problems, but I still remember playing Diablo 1 and just my mind was fucking blown. I was just like, what the fuck? And I could do this? I could go here? Oh shit! Playing on my 1996 PC or whatever, which was not
Is
mine. It was my brother's.
games have evolved, gaming has evolved, like the way that the industry fucking treats all of this has evolved. It's really hard to make comparisons to things back then, especially being that, coming up with new ideas as time goes on gets harder and harder and harder.
I, I
You know,
think
and
most I
now a
think
lot of
most people expected for him just to come out and be like, do like that. Did Leonardo DiCaprio clap? You know what I mean? Like that meme is a perfect meme for that situation because like, damn, like I see you guys, I see what you're doing. That means I gotta go back to my team and kind of like we gotta do what we gotta do. So it's not an acknowledgement of hate, but more an acknowledgement of like, I see what you're doing. You know, it's good competition. But instead, he want to just be petty, and it's just like, uh, you already made your
yeah,
sales, bro. Like that's it. Like, what you're hoping to just corner the market now for the next 10 years?
somehow magically without
Hmm.
making decent game that reflects that kind of, want.
I mean, there's
Like
a
make
reason
it
you're hemorrhaging so much players,
yeah, like yeah, man. It's
and
weird.
a lot of the reviews I've seen and the commentary making comparison too about these two games is the content that I lack of content. Like,
Yeah, they don't have a release schedule like Path does, where like good seasons come up every couple months, and then like it's different shit, and like, dude, like D4 bad, D4 bad, rabble, rabble, rabble.
and it's funny is like even if you put D4, let's say you do a swap. Let's say one of those crazy 90s reality shows where you do a wife swap, but this time it's a game swap. You give Blizzard Path of Exile, and you take D4 and give it to GGG. I guarantee you, within 6 months, D4 will be a better game
Oh, 100%.
because it's their.
But that's also kind of assuming team size is comparable and things of that nature.
No, I just think that their approach to the game is different overall.
I think their approach is definitely different, but I also mean like with a big ship takes a long time to turn, right? And fucking Blizzard is a fucking massive company at this point. So, I think just things of that line being the fact that GGG isn't this fucking conglomerate fucking of massive mess of bullshit like fucking
Yeah, maybe.
Blizzard. really lends it to be able to do basically like what Larian was able to do, which was make Baldur's Gate the best fucking game that they possibly could without having to listen to external sources too much, and to keep a lot of, what do you call that, investor interest out of the game.
Yeah. I mean, I think that has its valid points there. I just think that their approach to listen to the community, understanding, playing their game, understanding like, in order to make this fun, we need to like spice shit up.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like
Yep.
we can't just because we have seasons, but then nothing really happens in between seasons. It just resets. Like, oh, but we're gonna just tweak. We're gonna tweak little things here and there. Nah, man. Like if you look at Path from the very beginning, it was like every season it was something new.
Yeah.
Every season it was something new. Now sometimes it was something huge, sometimes it was just little something tiny. Experimenting with a new mechanism, with a new, you know, orb, whatever. But it was something new for you to look forward to. And that's what kept people coming back year after year after year after year after year to the same fucking game. You don't have that. You don't. I feel like Blizzard can't even fathom creating something like that, or creating such a system and shit.
They had World of Warcraft, and then that did well for a while, and then even now, like World of Warcraft isn't doing like
Terrible.
bad.
I mean, what game? Game is what, 20 years old? I want to say.
Right, but it's still going on with
Exactly.
ridiculous amounts
I,
of fucking
I
players.
think
So
I
they
think
know,
World of Warcraft
but
deserves
they know,
that MMO title, like
right?
MMORPG or whatever.
WoW, like, yeah,
WoW
but
like
that's why everything back in the day was considered
clone.
the WoW killer.
Yeah, and it was also a lot of them was like a WoW clone.
WoW clones, but then like, dude, fucking what was it? Rift. Rift literally marketed itself as a WoW killer. The fucking
Yeah, I
owners of
remember
that,
that.
yeah, it's
I
just
remember
like
that.
our game's gonna come out and it's gonna be the WoW killer. Like
No, it
that's how
wasn't.
you.
Shut up.
It wasn't. It sucks. It was good though.
It was
The
decent.
problem
It was decent. It was just not great.
the problem with Rift is exactly that. Is it wasn't great. It did a whole bunch of stuff and it did it just well enough to be passable and to kill some time in, but it didn't have something about it that was just like, yes. Like especially later on, like after it became free to play, bro. Oh my god. I remember I started playing it just to see what it was like.
I remember when that happened. There's still some taint to it when a game goes sale and then it goes free to play.
I
There's
thought it was an okay game. I had no idea what the fuck was going on. I started rifting, and then all by randomly, like just through the course of playing, I was like level 50 something, and I had no idea what the fuck was going on. I had no idea what zones I was supposed to be in.
Yep.
Like it just turned into this thing where it's just like, okay, well, I guess I just
The I
dungeon.
forgot what they called it, but it's like going from one rift to the other to the other to the other to the other, and it was just like
Yeah, like rift
after
hopping.
like 3 hours, you're doing like the same 5, 6 rifts, and you're
And it's
like,
just like
all right, I'm done
uh,
playing. I don't know what else to do.
I don't know what, yeah, exactly. Yeah. And it's like I tried raids, but then they were so easy because they're based, it's free to play. You're supposed to have a whole bunch of people being able to just queue up and go in, and it just seemed like ridiculously easy. I was just like, dude, I don't have to do shit. Like all these people are just gonna kill it. Like I don't know.
Yeah,
It just didn't do anything specifically. Like, oh man,
yeah, I think
I
that
need to
that experience
rip.
killed the game.
Didn't.
Yeah, it did. I feel like it did because I had the exact experience from that game, and the fact that we played it at two different intervals, like completely separate, two different hemispheres. What is that, hemispheres or the size of the country? You know what I mean?
Like,
Like, and it had the same exact. That's not coincidence. If you multiply that by 100, multiply that by 1,000, and I
yeah.
fucking pre-ordered that fucking game. I got the collector's edition.
It looked good. I was actually when it was coming out was really sad that I didn't get. I wasn't, I didn't have the money to get it. And I
Hmm.
was just like, oh, I want to play Rift. I had some friends that were playing Rift. I was like,
Bro,
I
I
want
was
to
a.
be have
I'm
WoW.
to this day I'm still a WoW hater. I don't know what it is. maybe it's like a small part of me is a contrarian, but I hated WoW. I hated everything about WoW. I never played WoW. No, I lied. I did play WoW. I think I got one of those like free trials,
Hmm.
and I was able to log in. I played a couple of hours, and it wasn't a terrible experience. It was just like, why do so many people dick ride this game?
Believe it or not, is it when it was in its like super heyday, and even now, I imagine it's a social game.
Yeah,
The moment that the game gets small enough to where the servers feel empty, WoW dies.
yeah, yeah.
Like,
I think that's the same for a lot of MMO games. If you don't get into the social aspect of that community, that server,
you're
you're not
just
gonna
gonna be
enjoy it.
bored.
Yeah, you're not gonna enjoy it.
You're not gonna have people to show you cool stuff. Like, you know what I mean? Same thing with like Path. Man, the social aspect of this game is actually pretty interesting if you start trying to delve into it. You know, there's people who go to the same general chat every fucking day and talk shit and just go and help players, or you know what I mean? Like, it's just you have to get into the social aspect for it to feel really, really good and for it to feel like a home away from home or inside your home, I guess.
Yeah, and I think that, and for whatever reason, that did not, even with their experience with WoW, they've never been able to recapture that same success and longevity with any of their other IPs. You can make the
Well,
argument about Overwatch,
nah, Overwatch is like half dead, bro.
but it did had a good run. I mean, not WoW numbers and like longevity, but it did have a decent run.
I suppose, yeah. And then they decided that they didn't want to make an Overwatch 2, so they just updated the game and called it Overwatch 2.
Which to me is like scummy, but that's that's like
It's funny.
at least use a new engine. Like Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it was they're just like, "Oh, we just haven't used these characters, so we're just going to give these characters to you and call it fucking Overwatch 2." I look, if anybody out there fucking plays Overwatch, look, I understand. I'm being fucking hyperbolic as fuck. Like, it's probably not as bad as all that, but that's just how it felt to me.
I mean, I think you have a bigger problem if you still play Overwatch, but that's my opinion. But
Look at
it's
people
okay.
like
Just give up.
shooter
Just
games.
move on. Just move on. Just move on. It's okay.
People like shooter games, and sometimes it's not about the actual gameplay.
If you
Sometimes it's
like
like
shooter
about
games, play a shooter game. Don't play Overwatch.
Overwatch is kind of a shooter. It's pretty much a shooter.
There's nothing shooter about that game. It's all like I'm thinking if I
No,
think about a shooter game, I'm thinking like the game like
I think
Battlefield
you're being
or
an old man.
I am get off my lawn type shit. Like what? Why you
Right. That's kind of my point. Like, but
like
that just look at
you're
you don't get
shooting
to.
you're shooting fake. This is a guy that runs around with two revolvers and can shoot the like. Wait,
Bro,
the
he
game is silly.
literally
The game is silly.
you literally just said it. He shoots.
Two revolvers and he shoots them like
Right.
machine guns, bro.
He's
He
shooting.
barely reloads.
Bro, he's shooting.
Fair enough. Maybe he is shooting.
Not maybe, he is. It's a shooter. It may not be like your style of shooter or your kind of art, like, but that doesn't change the fact that it's still a fucking shooter. Like, it's a what do you call that? Is it isometric? I don't think it is isometric actually. I don't know. I can't remember the team based shooter, squad based shooters, something like that. But like it
Squad
still
base.
is that. Yeah, I think it's squad based.
Mm.
Because like you have like the squad of dudes that you go into there and it's like 5v5.
By the way, it's been over a year since Diablo 4 has been released. By the way, the reason I find it significant is because in our conversation, we noted that Path releases new content at least 3 times a year, at the minimum, every three
Usually
months.
4.
Right, every
Yeah.
three
You-
months. And depending on the schedule and stuff like that, they sometimes squeeze a fourth. But at the very least, three. With one of
Yep.
them being a fairly decent expansion into the game.
Yeah. One of them is usually pretty big.
In this entire time that D4 has been out, they've released maybe one, and which was Vessels of Hatred, which t- to overtune the drop rate and fix something about the drops, and even that pretty much fell flat when it came to the content itself. So it's not whether or not Path is better than D4. It's not. This is not what I'm trying to argue here, or I'm trying to say. What I'm saying is that you cannot hate your competitor when you are not doing too good yourself. When the stuff that you're releasing it's at best. I'm trying to be. I'm trying not to be disrespectful. But it's like it's it's like when if you compare it to cooking, it's like it's edible, but is it
I'll
like Michelin
I'll,
star?
I'll be honest, bro. Like it does. Diablo 4 isn't even fucking edible, bro. That shit's fucking trash.
But there's
Like
people that take
I
their time
I'll
to make that, bro.
I don't give a fuck. I'll be rude. Like you decided to take a good IP, a decent idea, and then fuck it up, and then leave it a very unfun. Like, how do you do that?
Well, that's
Look at the
what's funny
technology.
part. But that's the funny part about it. They did it with D3.
I know, but look at the technology we have, bro. We have the technology.
That's another game I pre-ordered. D3. It was like it was sh- it was shockingly similar, but painfully boring. The end game was painfully boring, and
Yeah.
they slightly fixed it with Rebirth Souls, following the D2 mode. One expansion, one, and instead of using that momentum, which they sold, the expansion it was sold, you had to buy it. Instead of following that momentum and say, okay, so let's keep doing expansions, let's keep growing it. That's if anything, we could switch it to the free to play model and just have them purchase the expansions only. No, instead of doing that, they just dropped the title. They dropped the IP. They just started doing. They gave it like a 5-man team to just do updates, fix bugs here and there, and then they moved on to the next project, which 10 years later became D4. This is
Okay.
traditional big conglomerate game game producer, game whatever developer, and they make the same fucking mistake. They're just using the IP. They pay billions of dollars in marketing, and now they sit there in their big X chairs and talking about, oh, we should be Diablo-like games. Like, what? But it's you can't deny them the fact that they did get a lot of fucking sales. That's
Something, I guess.
yeah. It's I don't know. Maybe when they do their books and they see how much money they spend on marketing, development versus sales, maybe they still on the green, on the black or whatever whatever the counting term is, and
The
not in the
black
red, in the black and not in the red. So maybe, maybe that's what it matters. But that doesn't make your game groundbreaking. That doesn't make your game better than everything else. It's just
doesn't make your game loved.
that's true.
Like Path is loved by a lot of fucking people. I think if anything, the lore of Diablo is loved at best.
I think that's what drives people to go back to the game
Yeah,
because Diablo
nostalgia.
has the name Diablo.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Like, we're talking about the devil here. They have literally they corner the market on the IP that really resonates through a lot of communities and a lot uh, of our society. So it's very easy to make content. It's very easy for them to make this things like this. So, but the story writes itself in Diablo. When it comes to Path, they literally making this shit up as they go.
Yeah.
Like this. I mean, maybe they're changing names. Like, oh, so they're calling Lilith instead of it being Lilith, they call Marvel. Right? Maybe they're doing that in the back of the rooms. Maybe, but one thing that what I've experienced is that other than structurally the game being similar to a lot of ARPGs, story wise and implementation, Path of Exile is leagues away from a lot of the other ARPG. Like it just feels different the way they implement their bosses, the way they and I hope that still stays true to Path 2. That's one of the things I'm worried about whether or not they stay true to their form and how much do they deviate from it, trying to like try new things. But it's these are some of the things that are going right now. And again, this is it's not like they're releasing a whole lot of content, so we can't comment on things that are not out. So these are some of the things that are out that at least I find interesting in comparison to what's going on. Until Friday, this is what we have.
This is what we got.
Now, did they release? Um, oh, this is the mistake I made. I remember now. So when they release the reason why a lot of people thought it was going to be Thursday, preload was going to be Thursday, or the early access was going to be Thursday, is because when they released the announcement, it had a Thursday, December 5th, but no one saw the PST.
Wait, what?
PST, Pacific Standard Time.
Oh,
So the PST for most Americans are like the day before.
right. Okay.
So no one saw that, and I think most of us didn't see that, and maybe intelligent people saw it. None of us saw it, so that's why we kept thinking like Thursday. That's a weird date of. But in reality, for us, it was going to be Friday for Eastern time and um, West Coast and East Coast time. It was going to be Friday at different time frames, but it was going to be Friday, December 6th. And the preload, however, is going to be, if I'm not mistaken,
Mm-hmm.
so for Eastern is going to be Thursday at 8 o'clock, and I posted it on the channel for you to see. You are what do you consider it? GMT?
Uh, I'm so confused. You're
Your
just
time
saying,
zone. Your time zone. Your time zone.
oh, Pacific?
Is it Pacific?
I think
No.
I'm Pacific. I think I'm PST. No, wait.
PST is like New Zealand.
Is it?
Yeah, Pacific is like I think maybe Hawaii is in Pacific Standard Time. I don't
Yeah,
know.
I'm PST. No, GMT. Sorry, Greenwich Mean
Yeah,
Time.
so I'm like that's no way.
Look at. The thing is the California time zone. It says right here on Google, Pacific Standard Time, time zone in California, GMT. Like I don't know, I don't know, man.
Hmm. Hmm. Well, if
Um,
you're 3 hours ahead, oh, in the back, right? You're 3 hours
yeah.
behind. So
Oh,
PSC does make more sense then, because for Eastern time for us, my load time is 8 p.m. So yours would be 5 p.m. Thursday preload. So that makes sense. You might be PST
okay. So I'm preloading for Thursday. Son.
tomorrow at 5 p.m. Yeah, and I'll be preloading at 8 p.m. Which means that basically you'll be able to log into your Steam account, pop it open, let it update, let it do its thing. But understand this, it's going to be another update the day of. I'm 90% sure about that because that's what they do with Path all the time. That the day of they'll release like a few megabytes worth of a update,
Yeah.
and I think that just probably changes UI menu and all this junk, and open up the floodgates too. Um, so that's that. Other than that, there's a few things that I did notice that we can either talk about it now or we can probably save it for the next episode. And I'll leave it up to you.
It depends on what it is. What it is.
So two things: skill gems and skill tree.
We could wait for that one because that's all. They're kind of like
Okay.
same little like gathering of info.
All right. Well, that's pretty much it. And this recording is as of the 5th of December, but technically it's the 6th since it's 12 a.m. on my side. Um, but we'll be releasing this episode on Thursday. It'll be Thursday morning. So if you listen to this, hopefully you've already preloaded and you are on standby to start on Friday. And we wish you the very best luck. Um,
I hope you
question,
guys drop yours.
question, coffee. I
Yeah.
had this wild idea. What are we gonna call the guild?
Uh, what is our current guild name?
Face
Yeah,
something?
no,
Face.
no, Ghost Nation. That's our no. The face is the tag. Are we're
Oh,
still
oh,
good?
oh, oh, oh. Okay, 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 okay.
I
All right.
was looking. I was trying to do the whole tag thing, and I was looking through, and I couldn't with the maps that I had. I couldn't find like a good little message, and then I made face, and I was like, oh, okay, that works.
Wait, so you made that tag with maps?
The way that it works is you put maps in the slot, and then each map will have like a random ass letter or some shit that it corresponds to,
Ah.
and then that's how you make the tag. And I couldn't find like just like a really good one, and I just made face, and then I found a question mark and an exclamation mark. So I was like, yeah.
Ah, I didn't know you had to go through all that. I thought you just entered it. You just literally typed it in. I was just like, oh, okay. This is what it is. Um.
No, unfortunately not. It would have been better though.
Oh. All right, oh, well, whatever. Okay. So. Um. What? Sorry, my brain. For Friday. Okay. So Friday. I will. So they're doing live Twitch drops
I
now
wonder what it's gonna be.
for Path 2 specifically. Do you want to live stream?
We can. I don't see why not.
So I was thinking of live streaming on YouTube to record our episode and probably just migrate our recording over to Spotify for anyone who wants to listen, and then enabling a live stream, which I gotta check if YouTube counts as a live streaming. I don't think it does for Twitching for Twitch.
YouTube has a live stream
It does, but I
capability.
don't know if it counts for the Twitch drops.
No, it doesn't.
So,
Wait, we have to be watching the stream.
right. I don't think they've like I think they're only doing Twitch drops
Right,
specifically.
but we'll. Oh, so were you trying to say? Did you want to try to set up Twitch drops for our live stream? Is that what you're trying to say?
No, it's already set up. I
I don't know
mean,
how that works.
no, I mean it's a bunch of settings stuff you got to do, but
Guys, if you guys love this fucking super behind the scenes conversation, hit a button.
no, no, no. There's a reason why I'm saying it is because like I want to invite everyone who typically listens to us to come hang out with us on our Twitch channel. Again, we're not streamers, so we're not looking for a bunch of follows on our Twitch channel. But what we want to do is at least get your live feedback from and have that live conversation with you guys during early. I mean, this is the one of a time experience with early access.
I don't
Um,
even know if we can actually show any gameplay.
no, during Friday, yeah, we can. The embargo lifts.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so we'll be able to play with everyone else, and we'll be able to like make commentary on the stuff. And if you're playing as well, you can kind of chime in, see what we want to hear what you have to say as far as the game. Um, so we'll be doing that
Maybe.
for the first couple of hours. We'll probably take a break afterwards. We may or may not come to live streaming, depending on what it looks like Saturday. I'm known for a fact Sunday we're both probably gonna take a break because you You start playing 8, 9 hours straight, and then after a while you're like, all right, I need to like stretch my legs. That's what happens when you get old. And then we'll probably then just do our regular commentary episodes after that. So that's just public service announcement. So we will be live during tomorrow, Fridays, or tomorrow depending on when you're listening. Fridays release
We will be live for launch.
launch. So yeah, come hang out. Drop a like and subscribe to our channels. Uh, Leave a comment. I do read them, unfortunately. I don't have the same control as the other content creators that was like, I don't read comments. It's easy for you to say when you have like 1,000, but we only have one comment someone made, and like,
Stop hurting our feelings. No, I'm kidding. I'm joking. Hurt
not well.
all.
Some of the comments that people have dropped have helped immensely, so I do thank them.
Yeah.
They'll say like, "Hey man, fix your audio, man. That's just too loud. It should kill my ear." I'm like, "Damn, I didn't know that shit. Let me go back. Let me take a look at that." So I do thank you guys. But for now, I will be reading comments because I'm lonely. Um, but other than that, if it gets too crazy, then I might just not glossing over and going down to the meat of things. But for now, it is what it is. Yeah, and I think that's it for me.
Yep. That's it. Press the button. Love you guys.
Yep. Have a good one.